So, good morning, everyone, and I welcome all of you for today's session. So, today onward, we are going to start a very important component called essay. All of you are aware that essay writing is of 250 marks. For the 250 marks, tentatively, 7 sessions have been scheduled. There's a purpose to this session. There's a reason why, like, this number is required. Nothing less than this, but probably and more than this would be just an unnecessary stretch, because essay writing comprises of two aspects. One is the theoretical aspect, and second is the applicable aspect. Application, when we speak of it, it makes a critical difference when we are reflecting upon the very purpose of what you are going to create. Now, first and foremost, this session of essay writing, how is it created, what is the expectation of the examiner, what is the purpose of making a future civil servant write an essay, is something which I believe every student ought to understand. When we speak of essay writing, first and foremost, all of you need to understand this bit, that through essay writing, the examiner is trying to evaluate your personality. What are the strengths? What are the weaknesses of your personality? That's something what the examiner is putting under the scanner. So, like, you'll be like, how the personality is put to test. See, if a student is writing something like 2 pages or 4 pages, and that too the content is associated with general studies, the tendency to probably just beat around the bush, or the tendency to write factual information which is loaded and which you are deriving from general studies, the tendency is much, much higher. But the moment we speak of the given possibility, the moment we talk about the relevance coming from, like, let us say, uh, the philosophical or quote based essays, which is like the latest trend, I can confidently share this with you that it becomes quite tricky not to talk about what you feel, what you stand for, what you believe in, or probably the issues you feel is connected to the topic, or relevant to the issue. And in the process of determining that relevance, discussing that relevance, substantiating those aspects, a student ends up, like, emanating or reflecting upon, I would say, the given dynamics, the given possibilities or propositions associated with what ought to be created, and also what potential the student beholds, the degree of creativity, the leadership qualities, the basic civil services values, whether it is there or not. That is something which gets substantiated in the 12 to 18 pages of essay that a student writes. Now, you all need to understand how much you need to create, because majority of the students, generally, they don't have a clue how much they have to write. So, probably for that, I can substantiate this given subsegment, that how many words do you write in a UPSC sheet? Have you ever noticed that? That's something which is holding the answer to the key, how many pages you would be needing. Like, for that matter, if I speak of this given subsegment, I can probably substantiate it in this manner. Let us consider for a while that, suppose this is the sheet, okay, and suppose this is the margin that you are taking out, right? And in between you have to write down. That's how UPSC expects a student to write down. So, like, let us consider, in the process of substantiating in the sheet or noting down the facts or points in the sheet, suppose you're going on and on and on, writing a lot of segments or sub dimensions. In the process, like, as you are building the content in between, like, let us say there are 4 to 5, okay, there are, like, let us consider 4 to 5 words in every line, and suppose there are 12 or 14 lines, okay. In that situation, a student is writing somewhat between 60 to 70 words. That's a standard procedure which students write. There can be a possibility whereby a student might have this basic curiosity that, are words like is, am, are, the, and smaller words counted? Yes, they are. It makes a world of difference if we just change those words. You'll realize that more thoroughly, as I will be substantiating a lot of segments associated with it. Now, when I'm discussing about this given possibility associated with what you are capable of creating. So what I advise to all of you, because I believe all of you are listening to the session with a pen and a paper, and that's the standard and ideal way to actually attend a session. So what I would be expecting is just take out the register or sheet or whatever you have, okay, and let us reflect upon the possibility of calculating the number of pages. Okay, so I'll be like helping you out with the given dimension. What I expect from all of you is two things. First, keep writing some or the other thing, so that whenever I ask, so that I am like able to understand what possibilities you hold. Be participative, that keeps you energetic, that keeps you ticking, that keeps you connected with the content. Okay, another thing which I can probably suggest and empower you with is that keep substantiating a lot of I would say meaningful segments, so that you are able to participate and contribute, so that it is a win-win for all of us. Okay, so as we are going to substantiate this given subsegment, and we would be working on like a lot of possibilities associated with it. First and foremost, the word limit. So what I encourage all of you is, you can just open your register and hold a page. Yes, I mean it, a page. Okay, one more thing. A student may feel that how is the examiner able to gauge that how many words I'm writing? No examiner is calculating every word, but we get a tentative understanding whether a page is holding around 60 words or around 70 words or around 100 words. So those students who have a tendency to write very small handwriting, I'm saying that specifically because I'm connected to Kolkata Center. In the past few years of interaction exclusively with Kolkata students, I have realized that many students, they write beautifully, but their size of handwriting is quite small. And another thing is, they try to occupy lesser space in a page. I'm not generalizing, but my years of observation is something which is helping me to conclude this way. So there's no mess generally with handwriting. Most of the time spellings and grammar is in place most of the times, but when it comes to like cramping up a page, I mean, the potential is quite high. So if you have too teeny tiny handwriting, please increase the font size, because always remember, the person evaluating your copy is a university professor, and the person will not enjoy if it is too straining to evaluate your copy. So try to have a sizable handwriting, let it not be too teeny tiny. One. Second, there's no harm in increasing the size of the font, because when you are studying with so much of effort, a register or two or few bundles of extra pages in the entire preparation will not cost you much. But if the handwriting is legible, well spaced out, it generates a sense of comfort to the eyes. Just remember, the examiner, whether in GS or in essay, is going to engage with a bunch of pages, and through those bunch of pages you are going to engage with the intellectual acumen of the examiner, right? You are going to engage with the intellectual orientation of the examiner. So why not to write something that is powerful and something that makes qualitative difference, right? So what I would be encouraging and what I would be requesting for to all of you is this, that please get into this given mode, that first and foremost evaluate how many words you are able to fit in a given page. All right, so let us consider you are fitting in something like 60 to 70 words, whatever is your truth. Now hold a page and then flip it. When you flip it, it is the second side. Here we'll call it page 2. Okay, then the third side, page 3, page 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Keep flipping, keep flipping. So a student who is fitting in something around, I would say 70 words, you can just hold around 16 pages, okay, or rather 16 sides, 8 pages, okay, just hold that much. Okay, just do it. I want all of you to do it, physically do it. Okay, I do make the offline students do it, because understanding the physicality of the exam is very, very important. So as you're holding those bunch of pages, few of you might be, if you have smaller handwriting, you can chuck like 2 pages, you can zero it down to 12 sides or maybe 13 sides. Students who have like bigger handwriting, you can take one more page. So rather than 16, you can pick 18. Okay. Now, this is the truth of essay. These are the number of pages that you need to write in a go on a topic. See, in GS paper 1, you are barely writing 2 sides of a page, means 2 pages. When we are talking about GS paper 1, 2, 3, 4, even majority of the optional subjects, which are based on humanities subjects, right? So you are writing something like 2 sides of a page, that is 150 words. And then you are writing something around, I can comfortably say, you are writing something around 3.5 sides of a page for a 250-word answer, right? So a student who's habituated to write 2 sides or 3.5 sides, or in other words, 2 pages, 3.5 pages, has suddenly got to expand the content to 18 or 16 pages. So from the journey from 2 page to 16 pages, it is tremendous. That is like quite a bulk. And you're not habituated to think like that, to process an answer like that. Majority of you are in the habit of, like, reflecting upon the content and thinking that, okay, I would be writing this, and like you are in the habit of thinking simultaneously and writing simultaneously. But this method cannot continue further. For the simple reason, if you are continuing with this method, the biggest challenge you will face or suffer from will be that you will be writing and you will be simultaneously suffering, because the flow, the logical flow, the order will go missing. Flow is one of the integral parts of essay writing. If the flow is missing, you are unable to create a logical corollary, you are unable to create a piece of literature, you are unable to impress upon the examiner. Please remember, as it was always said during the school days or in any academic lecture across universities, it is said that essay is a piece of literature. Mind it. I repeat myself, essay is a piece of literature. And I believe that should not take much of an effort, especially to Kolkata Center students, because the literary background, I would say the intellectual acumen, the tradition that you have inherited in language skills, in cultural skills, it is, I would say, quite polished, quite evolved compared to many, many other parts of India. So I should not be substantiating this given statement that essay is a piece of literature, right? Because I believe majority of you have been in the process of reading quite exhaustively throughout your school days or college days. If not, that I would say skill needs to be evolved and developed further, because that's something which is going to qualitatively impact your essay. Essay is, I would say, a slice of your piece of insight, your personality, your understanding about a topic, your experiences related to a topic. Whether it is a formal experience, academic experience, an informal experience related to personal life, doesn't matter. Consolidation of it all creates an essay when we speak of it, right? So, as we are going to substantiate this given subsegment, let us first and foremost understand what is an essay in formal language when we are speaking of it. So, formally speaking, if we see what is essay, so this is what is introduced, that it is coming from the Latin word exagium, that is presenting one's case. And the moment I am saying presenting one's case means your side of argument, your opinion, your insight. A lot of students, like, especially those once in a while who get selected and start becoming experts of essay, it's perfectly fine, because it's their moment to shine, it's their moment to prove themselves as a star. But please do remember, I smiled because there are no academic experts. They were students just 2 or 3 years back, and in 2 or 3 years they were doing the balancing jig with a lot of subjects, optional as well as the 4GS papers. The capability to write fluidly, okay, is a skill which is evolved over the years. One. Second, many of them may write averagely good essay, not like the best version. When I speak of essay, please do remember the capability to score in this area is tremendous. If I like quote previous year marks, starting from 2013, 14, and then like 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 throughout. I mean, you will see that highest so far which I know is 175, once 172 as well. um, in 160s, it's a common phenomena. Toppers most of the time, year after year, from 2022 to behind, if I speak of it, you will find like 2022 result is yet to be out. If I talk about the academic cycle, so 2021 marks, which was associated with 2022 results, if I speak of that. So, what I would be speaking like of is like this academic year 2023, which has already started. Prelims is through, mains students are writing. So this year marks, if I exclude and if I speak of all the previous years, I can very comfortably say that majority of the students who have been toppers, I mean toppers of this subject, not all India toppers. So majority of the subject students who have topped this subject of essay, they have had something between 161 to 169 on an average. Okay. Good marks in essay, it is possible to score anything above 145. Okay, 145 above, if I speak of related to essay, compare it with any GS paper. In GS, getting 125, 130, you become all India topper of that subject, right? And in GS, anything between 110, 115 is considered good marks. In essay, it is just okay, just okay. Something between 125 to 135 is fine, fair, satisfactory, something like that. 135 to 145, it's like, again, it's like better than fair, but still there is scope for improvement. Okay, so that's, you can consider it's good. When you want to say that, oh, it was very good, so that's like 145 to 155. 155 above is like great. This is like amazing piece of literature. And anything above, like I would say 170, is amazing, brilliant. Okay, so very few students have been able to make it above 170. I won't say 170 because it's not like something which I can promote, like as if it is generally achievable and like majority or bulk of students get it. But generally what is achievable is 140 plus for sure. 140 to 145 plus is achievable. And if someone is having, like, now getting back to the toppers, why I was discouraging the very possibility of getting inspired by them related to content. See, related to history, geography, environment, IR, science and tech, whatever the subjects are, what your teachers can give, because they are experts in the subject. A topper cannot. A topper can give you strategy, how to prepare, how to practice, how to make timetable, how to do time management, how to go ahead with writing test series, how to balance the answer, all that stuff. Okay, so a lot of things with respect to these areas the toppers can give you as a brilliant piece of advice. But the moment we speak of them as experts of the discipline of the subject, I'll like discourage you to get inspired related to each and everything related to the content part that they speak. I'll throw light associated with it right now. For example, many toppers, you'll find out they'll say that you can make flow charts, diagrams, okay, you can make bullet points, or you can, like, enlist the points. It's not the writing style in an essay. Essay is different from general studies. In general studies, enlisting the point, making maps, diagrams, flow charts is acceptable, permissible. It adds quality to the answer. But in essay, it can subtly backfire. Why subtly backfire? Because the flow would be lost. Because it proves that in a free flowing language, you are not able to explain. It proves that somewhere your grip over language skills is not up to mark. Okay, you'll be like, but I have seen toppers doing that and getting decent marks. That logic few of you might have. Now, let me throw some light on it. See, across the world and across various entrance exams, there has been the component of essay. You had it in your school days as well. Beyond school days, if I speak of it, we can see that the presence of essay, this component of essay, has been there substantially in other kind of, we can say, competitive exams as well. And if you go to the market to purchase an essay book related to any of the competitive exams, or online, if you consult any website, any academic website, okay, I'm not talking about coaching websites, I'm talking about any good academic website which is dedicated to essay preparation, and you see the model essays, you will never ever find flow charts, diagrams, bullet points, etc. in it. Why? Are they not capable of? Are they not educated enough? Are they not exposed enough? Do they don't have a team of writers who can contribute qualitatively? No, you know that everyone is capable of doing that. Then how come they are not incorporating it in their books, in their model essays? The reason is it's not needed. If you do so, it cuts down the marks, it underplays the content. Your language should be capable to express what you feel and what you understand and know, rather than any other subsidiary tools like flowcharts, diagrams, maps, etc. So, and the thing is, these insights generally don't get hyphenated. In fact, once I heard a topper saying that, yeah, make flowcharts and diagrams, that gives you marks. And I saw like this person had 128 in essay. I was like, bravo, slow claps for that. Okay, you tend to become an expert where your marks do not prove the same. Okay, just because you are all India under 100 or under 50, that does not necessarily quantify, okay, the very possibility of pushing the marks ahead. And a person may not be so academically competent and qualified to do the same. That's why I'm saying that follow the toppers for writing skills, sometimes some tip for time management, some tip for, like, how to manage the resources, etc., etc. That's fine. But when it comes to these basic academic details of how to present oneself, just hold your horses. Also remember, the person who's evaluating your copy is not a GS teacher. The person evaluating your copy is not like a senior aspirant. The person evaluating your copy is actually a senior professor from university. And the person over the decades is seasoned to evaluate essays. So the person knows what he or she is expecting from your copy. The person knows what needs to be evaluated. What are the points which can diss or which can create a sense of, I would say, like a sense of separation, a sense of break from your essay. Okay. So, like to begin with, when we are speaking of this given dimension, see to it that the flow of ideas does not get affected by these given subsegments, right? So, just substantiating this, that compared to the 4 GS papers, essay has the potential to provide you 1.25 to 1.5x marks. Okay, so almost 1.25 to 1.5 times marks can be achieved by a student related to the component of essay. This is what we all need to understand, right? So, this is what I can share with all of you to begin with as we are stepping into this given dimension. So, you can just have a look what I consolidated here. So, essays are a short piece of writing representing one side of the argument or one's experiences, stories, etc. So, when it is sharing your insight, your wisdom, your reflection related to an issue, and in the process of reflecting upon that issue, you are substantiating it with arguments, short stories, your piece of wisdom, your critical reflection, all that you have gained so far, factually, intellectually, as well as in the process of, I would say, arriving at your own philosophies in the journey of life, all of it consolidated together needs to be poured on the paper related to the topic. So, as you're understanding this part, that it is like sharing your own experience, presenting your own side of writing, let us reflect upon what UPSC is expecting in terms of the syllabus. So, if I show you the syllabus of UPSC, as all of you can see this, okay. So, this is UPSC syllabus. What does the UPSC syllabus say? So, all of you can see candidates may be required to write essays on multiple topics. Maybe. Maybe means there can be a possibility that the choice may not be there. with respect to multiple topics, there might be a possibility that you have to write only one. This has happened so far only once, so I don't think so UPSC is going to repeat the history. When did it happen? So 2013, when UPSC changed its syllabus, that's an exceptional year. Why? Because in that year, UPSC went ahead with asking the students to write only one essay. Yes, I mean it, only one essay. There were no two sections. Presently, all of you are aware of this fact that there are two sections, four topics in each section. You have to choose one topic, and every topic needs you to write 1000 to 1200 words, right? And every topic is around, when we are speaking of it in terms of marks, so it is 125 marks each, right? But when we talk about this given possibility, in 2013 UPSC wrote in its instruction, write an essay in about 2400 words, sorry, not 24, 2500 words. So write an essay in about 2500 words. When I saw that, and then I asked the students how far have they written. In fact, few of them who were even all India under 100, they said that, ma'am, we were struggling with the content because we were habituated to write something around 1000 to 1200 words. So we ended up writing something closer to 1700 to 1800 words. Yes, that did happen in that specific year, that even the toppers were not able to produce the requisite up to 2500 words. Many of them exhausted by 1700 or 1800 words itself. Anyway, that was an exceptional year. After that, since like 2014 till like now, you will be able to see that UPSC has asked something like around, if you look into the word limit, you will find that it has asked the students to write two essays, and each essay is 1000 to 1200 words. Means if UPSC writes up to 1200, you can write 900 and no one can question. Okay, but the moment UPSC is saying that 1000 to 1200, you can dare not to write less than that. And if you're writing like so basically UPSC coerced the students that you cannot dare to write anything less than 2000 words and up to 2400 words. So that's what. Another question few of you might think, is UPSC going to count every single word? No, not really. The examiner does not have the time, nor it's a very matured take while evaluating. What generally is done is we tentatively sense that in a piece of paper how many words are fitted. Like I can see that, like prior to my session, Ashish's answer has been uploaded and it is associated with NDMA, and I can see that on an average in a sentence the child is writing 7 words. Okay, so suppose if I sense that on an average 7 to 8 words is what this fellow will be writing, and if I sense that there are around, like let us say 20 or 25 lines, so I'll be calculating accordingly that tentatively in a page this is what the student would be writing, and on that basis the total number of pages will be noticed. If some page is having densely written, I'll add 50 more words. If some page is lightly written, I'll be subtracting something like that. So if the student writes a lot of words, then I'll have a tendency to calculate accordingly. Suppose the child is not writing very densely from beginning to end, so on an average if the page is looking little dense, then I'll calculate around 15 or 20 words is extra, like that. So if, like let us say a student is writing 980 or 970 words, you won't get caught. If you're writing like 1000, like sorry 12 1230 1220, you cannot get caught. But the moment you write 1260 or you're writing like 940 950, it is visible. A sizable chunk, a sizable para is extra. Okay, so no one is actually literally counting every single word, but a tentative understanding can be created. One. Second, on an average, after, as I was sharing that the four sides of the page are taken out, so you can sense that how many words a student can fit in. So those who write really like tiny and crawly handwriting can fit in 7 words in one line, but most of the students fit in 4 to 5 words. Yes, if you're writing bigger words like globalization, then maybe 3 words. Okay, but there will be smaller sentences, like the smaller words also in a line. So it can be it is and, so it is and 3 words have been fitted, and then like other smaller words if follow up, so 6 or 7 words can also fit in that situation. That's how tentatively we calculate. So no one is calculating every single word. That's what I would be substantiating. Now as I would be highlighting the given component associated with, like, let's say, other domains or other, we can say, possibilities. So with respect to this, first thing is what UPSC is putting to test is multidimensionality. Is your multidimensional understanding like up to mark or not? That is what the first subsegment is saying, that candidates may be required to write essays on multiple topics. Why multiple topics? Because your multidimensional understanding is something which the examiner aspires to know. Majority of the students, they don't pay attention to the syllabus, but the syllabus is the key to the answer. What are the do's and don'ts? What needs to be followed? What are the pitfalls that needs to be avoided? So here they will be expected to keep closely to the subject of the essay, to arrange their ideas in an orderly fashion, and to write concisely. If I bring in the relevance related to the content, you can see your aspects of multiple topics is associated with multidimensionality, right? Multidimensionality. Just a second. So, multidimensionality. Then they will be expected to keep closely to the subject. Why to keep closely to the subject? Yes. Why to keep closely to the subject? So that just because you know that you have the capability to write a lot, you have the capability to write something like 16 to 18 pages, you don't start meandering and beating around the bush. You don't start, like, writing something which you have mentioned in the third page, in the 16th page as well, or 12th page as well, thinking this, that, oh, chalta hai, and whatever I've written earlier, it can be written later because there is a gap of few pages. So, like, some students have a tendency to repeat. The examiner won't remember after a few pages that this is what I've written earlier. So I'll manipulate the words, I'll change the words, and I can, because the thing is you have to write so much. A student writing 2 pages GS answer or 4 pages GS answer has to reproduce like 5 times the content on an average. So in that situation, tendency to repeat can be there. Okay, or the tendency to, like, drag in segments from very distant possibilities, distant components can also be there, and that can be problematic when we speak of it. So what I can probably substantiate is this, that keep close to the subject. Do not meander or go away from the subject. Just because you know, don't write it. Write what is relevant to the topic. Do not write something which is irrelevant to the topic. I'll explain this through an example just in a short while. Next, you can see, to arrange their ideas in an orderly fashion. What does this mean? To arrange the ideas in an orderly fashion. That means there should be a logical flow. If there are maps, flow charts, diagrams, where is the flow? Okay, the orderly fashion. The orderly fashion is there when one para is leading to the other, the next para is further substantiating a given segment and leading to the other one. So that's what orderly fashion. Something like, I can say, free flowing content, something like easy content, something like, um, something which is kind of creating a sense of effortlessness. That's what. And to write concisely. That means if you have to write something like 14 to 18 pages, do not stretch up the content. Oh, I have a lot of words to write. I have a lot of space to write. No, you don't. If you are really rich with a topic, you are loaded with insights related to a topic, you don't have a lot of, I would say, garbage to write. You don't have unnecessary details to write. Whatever you know, it should be presented in a gist form. It should be like, how to say, very consolidated, very crisp, very dense, very reflective, very deep. Okay, so that's what, concisely. Then credit will be given. Credit means more marks will be given, okay, for effective and exact expression. Now, what is this effective? So effective, as I have written, interesting to read, easy to understand, then only your content becomes effective. So when I'm saying that it is interesting to read, so the thing is that how is it interesting to read? Okay, so a content becomes interesting to read when it is able to engage the attention. How does it engage attention? So relevant facts, some meaningful analysis, maybe some short story to substantiate the point, right? So that's something how you make the content interesting. So you can see credit will be given, means more marks will be given if you have an effective expression. Exact means something which is relevant to the topic, no beating around the bush, no meandering the content, no unnecessary garbage, right? So this is what. So precise, perfect. Okay. So no, I would say, substantiation in a wrong direction. That's what we all can connect with when we are discussing about the component of this given area associated with the syllabus, right? I hope all of you are able to connect with this. Then can I start writing essay with a quote or a story and values? Yes, Nimai, but we'll be discussing about types of introduction little later. I'll take it gradually, and I can ensure you that by the time the essay sessions are getting over, I mean, by the end of 7 sessions or so, you will feel transformed in your approach, how far you have gained, and what you have become so far with respect to all the world of wisdom that you have gained from preparation of GS. I'm kind of aware that many of you are about to complete your syllabus. Probably essay was one of the last components that had to be done, right? And that's great, that's awesome, because if you have done ethics, if you have done other subjects related to general studies, you have a lot of, I would say, content which can be consolidated to the topic. So we will be dealing with that area. So go bit by bit, you shall be able to understand what all segments can be substantiated at every step, what all can be incorporated at every step. Should we write both sides of the page or single side of the page? Miss Vijit, I hope you have written tests. So I don't think so you were writing on one side, skipping the other side, leaving it blank or vacant, again writing on the other side. I mean, there might be a purpose of doing so if you have ever done that, right? If one answer is going on, there is no logic of skipping one of the sides of the page, according to me, right? So you are supposed to write on both sides of the page. I mean, I don't know this question, if I'm addressing it, there's some kind of sense of relevance needs to be brought in. See, Biswajit, this is the page, right? This, both sides. You have to write here also, you have to write here also. Next page, if I pick it up, okay. So after this, you have to write here also, write here also. I don't understand the logic. Why will you write here and why you will not write here? You leave this vacant and then you start writing here. I mean, okay, anyway. So articles and prepositions are also counted. Yes, Subrata. Yes. And you'll realize it when I show you the segment associated with essay writing in terms of interpretation of a topic, right? So that will be one of the first segments we will be dealing with once the basic overview related to what are the aspirations of a topic, once that is over. I hope all of you will be able to connect with that given subsegment. Now here, so you can see what is the aspiration of the examiner, what is the examiner actually looking for, right? So you have to at all times remember this. There will be multiple topics, you have to remain close to the subject, you have to write it like, you have to write in an arranged fashion, in an orderly fashion, concisely, no beating around the bush, effective content and exact expression. Some key core qualities expected from you. When we are speaking of this effective writing, so I have substantiated the effective writing part over here, as all of you can see. So effective is something which is interesting to read. So interesting, so stories, examples, facts, comparisons, dimensions, analysis, whatever. Easy to understand when you have to make it effective. Please remember, I do not imply childlike language. Not childlike language. When I say this given subsegment that it is easy to understand, what is implied is at least standard 12th NCERT level language. Present situation or crisis is that majority of you understand NCERT, but your language skills are not evolved as standard 12th NCERT. Capability to read and understand is different from capability to write and use the similar language. The language which is expected from standard 12th children to write, at least that level of language should be there for a student who is aspiring to write something. who's aspiring to write something and create something, I would say, meaningfully with respect to, I would say, what you're creating as an undergrad at least, right? So it is expected that work on your language skills. Many of the students, they stopped working on their language. When I speak of it, antonyms, synonyms, and various other aspects, many of the students, they discontinued with that kind of approach, with that kind of, I would say, reflection and insight, probably after like standard 8th or ninth. So when was it last that you consciously worked on your vocabulary, on your grammar, on your sentence formation? Probably 7th or 8th, not after that. And that's why majority of the students who prepare for civil services exam, irrespective of which discipline they belong to, they have a tendency to write a language which is that of a school going child, not polished or evolved enough as that of a, I would say, a future civil servant. So when the examiner is saying easy to understand, it implies that don't have a flamboyant language, flowery language, very poetic or something like that. No. Easy to understand means let it be reflective, critical, comprehensible, okay, something like that. Let it be engaging, let it have the right set of words which are suitable to the context. Okay, that's what the examiner implies to say. So when students say, ma'am, what is the standard language that we need to have for UPSC preparation? I always say that, have you ever noticed that how UPSC has gone about with the given possibility of what gets created, what gets, I would say, generated in the process of writing, um, especially at NCERT level school textbooks. So reflect upon that. Now, with reference to this, when you are understanding the syllabus, let us step into the aspiration that needs to be like taken care of in an essay. So, to begin with, when we are reflecting upon dimensions of an essay, and there, as I'll be substantiating the dimensions, the articles, preposition, question I'll be taking here. Okay, so you'll be seeing that. So, in dimensions of an essay, we can say first and foremost, we need to understand a topic in letter and spirit. Now, what is this letter and spirit? Yes, people, start responding. Let me see how many of you are able to understand this. To understand a topic in letter and spirit. What is letter? What is spirit? Kindly start responding. Meanwhile, I'll just keep writing something. Yes, people. What is to understand a topic in letter and spirit? What is your interpretation and understanding of this given language, people? Because that's something that will be hyphenating the given possibility that you are understanding what is being taught. You have some basic sense of understanding from the past, and then what has to be built on that basic aspect for the future. Yes, letter and spirit. I would be appreciative if people who are handling the WhatsApp group will be little more proactive in posting the students' messages, if any. Yes. Okay, so letter is the literal meaning and spirit is the inner meaning. All right. So this is the literal meaning, and this, like when we speak of it, and spirit you are suggesting is the inner meaning. Okay. So the inner meaning. Something more All right. So Sunanda is saying that understanding by heart. Okay, that's again not so very clear, though I get the essence of it, but understanding something by heart, that's the spirit. So getting into the core of the concept, let me suggest it like this. So inner meaning, the core meaning, the heart of the meaning, right? Letter is the literal meaning. We can consider the explicit meaning, right? So we can consider the explicit meaning, like something which is overt. Letter means literal, spirit means what you feel. I cannot feel anything randomly, Anish. It has to be something which is derivable from the content. Okay, so all right, fine, Biswajit and Nimai. Okay, it means different aspects of the topic. What means different aspects? Spirit means integral, and letter means face value. Okay, so the student who's writing spirit means integral and letter letter means face value. Uh, okay, I believe and hope that it's just typo error. Okay, because in this process of writing speedily, do not mess up with the spellings, because you know later and latter has completely different meaning, and I hope you all understand the meaning of latter. Okay, former, latter. Okay, all right. Anyway, so spirit means internal meaning. Okay, so internal, and other than that, you are also sharing understanding the topic literally and figuratively. Very good, Ahona. So figuratively. All right, it is associated with essence. One of you again. So essence. All right. Superficial as well as deep, inherent. All right. Superficial meaning like let's say overt. So overt, something which is at the surface, something which you gain. All right. So to understand a topic in letter and spirit, when you understand a topic in letter and spirit, it is then that you can generate abundant ideas, right? So again, I want all of you to participate in this given topic and give me some content, some insight. All right. So here we are with certain specific topics. So this topic, as all of you can see, this is from 2020 mains. 2020 mains, topic number 7, all of you can see it's given over here. Patriarchy is the least noticed yet the most significant structure of social inequality. You all can see this, right? So patriarchy is the least noticed yet the most significant structure of social inequality. So as you are understanding this given topic, what content would you write? Just give me bullet points. Take your 30 seconds, process the information within you, and start typing the content. I don't want it very orderly or very systematic, ma'am, in introduction this and then body this and conclusion this. No. Any point that is flashing inside you. You're like, oh yes, I'll write this dimension. Or, oh, this is what I would be like working on. Just start typing. What will go as the content of this given topic, this one that we are discussing. All right, let me see what all of you come up with in terms of insight and expression, and then I shall be substantiating the content accordingly. Yes, people? Yes, let me see. I think few of you have already started typing. So what goes into the content of this given topic? So, all right, let me see, let me see. I'll be patient because here lies the key to understanding what basic potential you hold. So you can start like typing some basic points that flash. If you want to write more, you can keep writing. Okay, so you can keep writing. The paternalistic society, our conventional culture. Okay, one of the students has written that. So we can consider the student wants to talk about the paternalistic, like we can say, society and conventional culture. All right. Then again, Spandan is saying that I will be writing from spirit possibility, that is social, political, innovative, and then technological. Okay, all right. Something more that you can think of? What is the topic demanding? What needs to be written in the content of the topic? Yes. What goes more or further? You can keep suggesting, I would say, simpler points, simpler words. So, first the definition Nimai will be writing, then historical background, then why India is patriarchal, how to remove it from the society, aspects like cultural, social, then the conclusion. All right. So, in Vedaic period, I think probably the student who has written Vedaic period, you wanted to say Vedic period, right? So, in Vedic periods, their society was patriotic. And who said that to you? Whoever has written that. From where have you got this garbage piece of information? The idea of nation state is barely 250 to 300 years old. India had so many, we can consider, princely states. The very idea of this consolidated understanding of nation state across the world, the entire world was not politically so, I would say, evolved. And the idea of having a boundary and a concrete boundary and global recognition needed for it and all that stuff, this is as recent as 250, 300 years back. So, who is saying this? And where is patriotic connected to this? I don't understand. Maybe something needs to be done about the spelling. Maybe you want to say something else and something else is coming up in terms of the spelling. So in Vedic periods the society was patriotic. Is the person not writing patriotic, wants to say patriarchal? Whoever the student is, please work on your spelling and keep writing, because when you write, I come to know you as a person. Okay, I come to know what potential the class holds, the strengths and weaknesses and the level of the class, so that I can go to that simpler level also, and at the same time pull you up at what level you need to be taken ahead. Okay, so patriarchy in ancient time, decision making at home, at workplace, workforce. All right, all right. In scientific sector, what scientific sector, like what would you be writing in scientific sector? Okay, so another student is sharing definition of patriarchy, the visible effects on women, mostly as is expected, social role, domestic role. I am actually going to surprise all of you. Keep playing along. All right. So they overlooked effects which influence not just women but also other marginalized section beyond sex and gender. Its effects on men, both facilitating and restricting. Okay, I'll be going with what is patriarchy, how it is hidden under societal norms, patriarchy and Indian society. Okay, so someone is also presenting a statement, patriarchy is so deeply rooted and has thus become so common and normal that we cannot sense its presence anymore. Okay, in patriarchal society we normally don't notice the impact of patriarchy, but it is significant to realize the impact of patriarchy on the society, patriarchy's impact on economy, women, overall country. Okay, so ancient culture that brings patriarchy, how it is conquered day by day, pillars of inequalities, some reforms and reformers, ideologies. Okay, whoever this student is, I think it is Akshay Mistry, because he has enlisted a lot of points. Or no, it is someone else who has written 8 points, has sent 8 points in total. No, no, no. 8 points is also a different student. Okay, whoever has written these 5 points, kinda close. So far, kinda close. The only student who has come kinda close to what needs to be substantiated. Another student has written what is patriarchy, continuity of patriarchal mindset prevailing in society, how it evolved time by time. Okay, time by time is an incorrect expression though. Current social aspect, why it's make inequality in society. Oh, what is this language, man? No worries, this also needs to be fixed. What type of inequality it created, how to remove it, and then the conclusion with positive mindset. So, okay, it was you, Akshay, who had written the 5 points. Great. Now I can see that. So, that was great. Historical background, how an inequality gets normalized, recent visualization of this Inequality, recent voices, steps taken, way forward. Okay, Anish. Impact of patriarchy on electoral democracy, women's representation, fine. What in society and factors of society, medium of society, also with the quote. So, what is society and factors of society? Okay, that will be, though again too distant and meandering, because if the topic is very specific, writing what is society is too open ended. Because society is comprising of various types of inequalities. It can be based on, like, we can consider a lot of possibilities anyway. So, what is society and factors of society? Uh, if you're writing that, that's fine. I would say that's fine, but it's just that probably some substantiation is needed, which can either help you or it can backfire. So it depends how you are processing the given information, right? Anyway, so body, different aspects from ancient to present. Conclusion, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, and also some initiative related to women empowerment, like Vishkarma initiative. Vishkarma initiative? Acha, fine, got it. So, this is definition, historical background, social, cultural, political. So a lot of segments now I can see through. So from Shreyashi, Biswajit, Alok, all of you are coming up with this. How about this given possibility, if I give you this given idea that everyone is talking but no one is really making sense with respect to what is the demand of the topic? Not a single student has been able to understand the topic in letter and spirit so far. A very simplistic topic. I did not take philosophical topics to begin with, for the simple reason that you need baby steps to cover up what you know, what you understand, and then you are going to be capable of maybe substantiating something meaningful, right? That's why I told you the sessions will be raking your insights, and it will be helping you to think and delve deep. If you understand the segments which we will be substantiating over here, this will also help you to develop the content for essay as well, sorry, comprehension as well. Because a student suffering from poor levels of comprehension will first fail CSAT. If the student somehow with maths, reasoning, whatever is able to somehow pull through, the child cannot pull through with GS and essay, because poor levels of comprehension is going to impact the way you engage with a question during mains. So empowering all to make equal position in society, to reduce patriarchal attitude, which is least noticed. Its effects, what is meaning about least noticed and its effects, why others are not getting enough opportunities. Okay, how inequality happened, inequality can be reduced. Okay, all right. Now, with respect to this given topic, as now you people are processing it and processing it for quite substantial time period, more than 5 minutes now. See this, what the topic says. First we'll process it simply, then we'll delve deep. So it's saying patriarchy is the least noticed, yet the most significant structure of social inequality. What majority of you noticed was this: patriarchy, social inequality, right? Baki points here tel lene, right? Rest of the language, rest of the words, they do not count for. They do not make an impact, as if there is no need for it. Yeah. I mean, like all those students who are talking about evolution of patriarchy or evolution of the society, history about primitive society, later society, middle age society, modernity, and how to remove. Okay. So all those students who are thinking that they will be talking about history of patriarchy and how it unfolded in the society, and those who are feeling that they'll be talking about types of gender inequality from death rate to birth rate. Okay, death rate means when aged women are not taken care of, because like if the husband has died or if she is aging, ailing, medicines are not provided. She could have lived longer, but in time intervention is not provided. Violence against women also wipes out a lot of women from the face of the earth. The moment a girl child is born, she can suffer from feticide or infanticide. I'm giving all this content for you with respect to what you are thinking, not what I am going to substantiate. Okay. So first I'm substantiating how you are like reflecting upon the details. So, feticide, infanticide, which is also a mark of gender inequality. Then you might be thinking that after this we can think of basic opportunity inequality, whereby we can see that access to education, healthcare, quality or basic education, healthcare is missing. Then after that, I will be substantiating like after basic opportunity inequality, special opportunity inequality, that is higher education, skill development. Women may not get access to higher education and skill development, the nature in which she wants to engage, right? The kind of work she wants to do. Again, with respect to like after this given subsegment, with respect to this, when we are reflecting upon the given possibility associated with what content can be further created related to this given area. And with respect to this, if we all can probably consolidate something more, and as you start reflecting and delving deep, you are like, then I'll be substantiating professional inequality. So harassment at workplace, abuse at workplace, maybe sexual abuse at workplace, or maybe there can be a possibility of different working hours, discouraging a woman to continue with her job after marriage or after children, pressurizing a woman to, like, get into a lot of other possibilities which is unnecessary, hindering her promotion, or if the person has to be transferred to another city, that again comes as a challenge. There can be challenges pertaining to it at workplace. It can be associated with dress code. It can be associated with maybe the work timings, morning, early morning shift or late evening shift. So a lot of things can be there which can impact the way a woman is engaging, right? Anyway, so when we are speaking of all these given subsegments and when we are elaborating upon all these given possibilities, we all can further reflect that what can be, like, created, right? And as we start reflecting upon all of it, we all can sense that with respect to topics like these, you would be like writing something like this. Maybe some people can also think of inequality in access to property. So a lot of people can experience this, that in society a lot of people don't have competent access to property. There can be inequality with respect to access to property as well, right? Then some of you can probably think that there can be which like an inequality in access to property hinders the nature of participation and entrepreneurship of a woman, right? Then after that, when a person is further substantiating, the person can think that in the name of division of labor, a woman suffers from accumulation of labor, whereby double burden of work, working at home as well as outside, so that can tax her health, her wholesome well-being, all that can also happen. Now, these points which I'm sharing with all of you, right? All these given points, all these given possibilities, dimensions, facets, which I'm sharing with all of you, I believe all of you can connect with this given possibility that these points could have been written by you, right? These points were discussed by Dr. Amartya Sen. You can refer these points. How can you refer? See, what you can update contemporary examples and points in these areas, types of inequality which I discussed. If any of you does not have access to this material, I can advise you. Dr. Amartya Sen had written an article in Frontline in 2001 where he had written types of gender inequality. Later on, he substantiated this article and consolidated this article with more critical reflections, facts, etc. in his book Development and Participation, which he co-authored with Professor Jean Drèze, who was at that time university like professor at Delhi University. Presently, he's an independent researcher doing very good quality research across India. Anyway, so when we are talking about types of gender inequality, you can search it like over the internet, you'll find it. Types of gender inequality, Amartya Sen. You'll find the content. Lift that content, use it for your GS paper 1, role of women as well. That will help you to write good answers in role of women. Now, all these types of inequalities which I shared with all of you, and you might be nodding your head inside your, like, own, like wherever you're sitting, that with your own comfort limit, you must be feeling, yes, 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 this is perfectly fine. What ma'am is saying, all these types of gender inequality, this is correct. This is what should be substantiated. No, that's not the demand of the question. If you're writing all this and you're talking about stages of patriarchy, ancient, medieval, modern, or if you're talking about, like, let us say, I will be writing the social, economic, political impact of patriarchy and how it is generating social inequality. No, that's not relevant to the topic. Once again, all this content is miscellaneous. It is not close to the topic. It's written patriarchy is the least noticed. One of you noticed that and said that I'll try to explain what is this least. So it is least noticed, yet the most significant. This. Okay. So it's written yet the most significant structure of social inequality. That's the complete expression if we reflect upon it. So when it's written that patriarchy is the least noticed yet the most significant structure of social inequality, okay, when we are reflecting upon this given subsegment, we all need to understand, okay, that what is needed, what is necessary, and what probably can be substantiated. So least, most, when do we write least and most? When we are comparing something. If I'm saying that patriarchy is the least noticed, that means I'm comparing it with something. So it is lesser noticed than what? Compared to what? What is noticed more than patriarchy? Like, well, that's not clear. What is noticed more than patriarchy? No worries, you'll arrive at it the moment you notice the second part of the question. Second part. Yet the most significant structure of social inequality. The entire expression, read the entire expression. The most significant structure of social inequality. So that encourages me to think that what are the structures of social inequality, and compared to what structures is patriarchy more significant, right? When they are saying most significant structure of social inequality means there are other structures as well. But compared to all other structures, patriarchy is more significant. It is more important. It is more impactful. So compared to what structures? So here comes the segment of when we are substantiating it, I'll probably pull it down so that you all can connect with it. So compared to caste, compared to religion, compared to, we can say, ethnicity, compared to race. Anyway, race is incorporated within it. Compared to, I can consider something related to region, right? Inequality is based on all these aspects. So compared to caste based, like, structure of social inequality, okay. So caste as structure of social inequality, ethnicity as a structure of social inequality, region or regional discrimination as a structure of social inequality, religious discrimination as a structure of social inequality. So compared to all other structures of social inequality, patriarchy is least noticed, but it becomes most significant. Now, when I further decode it, if there is a caste-based violence, okay, who is mauled, who is victimized? It is the women of the society. It is the women who are exploited. It is the women who are mauled. It is the women who are, we all can see, molested, right? Raped, beaten up, any kind of such, like, we can say, exploitation. If there is a religious violence in the name of religious riots, dange fasad ke naam par, what happens? It is the women who get targeted, right? And never ever the newspapers will make it to the headlines that in the name of religious violence, it is patriarchy which is put to exercise, whereby women are, like, targeted and molested. See, recently, the incident that happened in Manipur between the Meiteis and the Kukis, as you can just reflect and recall, patriarchy was at exercise in ethnic violence. Ethnic violence happening, women getting targeted, women becoming, we can say, victims of violence, right? So, ethnic violence, but in any form of violence, patriarchy, though least noticed, it becomes most significant. So, any form of violence, patriarchy will be the undercurrent. We don't notice it, but patriarchy is put to exercise in every level of violence that happens, at every level of inequality that unfolds in the given society. I hope all of you are understanding this. The colossal mistake that each one of you was doing. The capability to not reflect deep in a topic. You aspire to become a civil servant and you're still thinking like a school going student. I'll first define patriarchy, then I'll write the history of patriarchy, then I'll write the political, social, economic, scientific, this aspect. What is this? If you don't understand a topic, how can you write the content? And I started with this, to understand a topic in letter and spirit. When you don't pay attention to the words, you don't get to the spirit. You don't get to the core, the essence of a topic. Okay, so spirit, the hidden meaning, the underlying current, something that is essential and has to be comprehended. So, comprehend means capability to understand, interpret. Can everyone see this? What happened to you? So, like, essay is not the typical school going kids essay, writing that level of essay. This is the level that you needed to be aware of. And mind it, it's not even like close to what I have to take you up to. What UPSC is asking now is fairly different from what is being discussed right now. If I show you a few topics itself, probably you will be alarmed. See this, I showed you the, like, I would say the segment associated with GS, because this is something which you have done, right? If you have done Indian society, role of women, there's something which you have done. So just understanding the topic, delving deep into it, recalling the content would have done the magic. Simple. Actually, the level which you have to be pulled up to is this, like this. Life is a long journey between human being and being humane. Mindful manifesto is the catalyst to tranquil self. Ships do not sink because of water around them. Ships sink because of water that gets into them. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Similarly, if I further delve deep, see this. The process of self-discovery has now been technologically outsourced. Your perception of me is a reflection of you. And my reaction to you is an awareness of me. Philosophy of wantlessness is utopian, while materialism is a chimera. The real is rational and the rational is real. This is the level which I have to pull you up to. I didn't even introduce you to this level. Okay. So, when we are speaking of this, where they talked about victimization of women, yes, Subrata, examples will come later. Good that you are able to think of examples as writers like Khushwant Singh. You can not only write Khushwant Singh, you can quote like a list of them across the world who have substantiated this issue. Okay. But my question is not the content right now. My question is capability to understand. Once I've explained the topic, now you can keep thinking about a lot of content. But the question right now we are addressing is not the content of the essay anymore. Now what we are understanding is capability to understand how we are failing. What is the level of this exam? And to what level we need to climb up with the baby steps that with which we have started. So, as I was sharing with all of you under this component of dimensions of an essay, I hope it now richly dawns upon you that if you don't understand The topic in letter and spirit, you cannot bring sufficient justice to the topic. Letter and spirit. Letter, what is written, every single word. Spirit, the essence of the essay, the core of the essay, the central message that needs to be communicated. That is something that needs to be understood. Now, those students who asked, ma'am, preposition, is it also counted? Articles, are they also counted? Now, let me give you an example related to it. See, 2018 essay. See, a people that values its privileges above its principles loses both. This one. Oh, now just a second. I can sense what exactly happened. Yeah. What is a people? It's not written people. It's written a people. What is a people? Is it different from the people? Is it grammatically incorrect? What is peoples? The people. Right? To understand a topic in letter and spirit, are we clear with the letters first and foremost? That's why these sessions, you can notice that I started with like the first slide of the session, which held my name. It also had the word, the essay technology written. Why technology? If you reflect upon the word technology, technology is associated with a list of, I would say, methods and techniques consolidated together. Methods and techniques, when I say logi, technos plus logos, logos is systematic study, scientific study. So how studying systematically, scientifically can break open a given topic in such a manner that with that systematic and scientific study, when we are engaging with a topic, when we are engaging with a possibility, okay, we all can understand that our capability to understand a topic in letter and spirit, when we are reflecting upon the same, we all can connect, okay, we all can connect with this given dimension, that it becomes like quite rich, it becomes quite deep. So when we are talking about like any given dimension, and if we really want to delve like richly into the topic, deeply into the topic, it's not the flamboyant or tough words which can create a problem. Even simple words like these can create the issue. So what is advisable to all of you in such a scenario is that try to work it out, associated with the given sub dimensions, paying attention to every bit of it. So understanding a topic with in letter and spirit. So one of you has shared that people is men. No, not people is not men. People is men, women, transgenders, all consolidated together. People are individuals living in a society. The moment you say people are men and the people is whole society, I beg to differ. People is associated with the whole society. People is not an engendered term to connect it with men only. So that's a faulty understanding. The people is whole society. Well, people, the people, both is associated with the whole society. There's something different in terms of interpretation. Yes, no one has come up with an explanation of what is a people. I'm not explaining the entire topic. It's a philosophical topic. I'll take it up later when you are ripe with the meaning. Okay, so the Bindu, as you are sharing that a people mentions the specific person who follows the type of practice. Okay, but it's not a specific person, individual, because it's written people. So I cannot connect it with the individual. Yes, yet it was a fair attempt, I must say. Yes, someone else coming up with the explanation. Understanding the word. When you understand the word, your capability to reflect upon CSAT passages also becomes sharp. A people means mankind. So people also means mankind or humankind, right? Yes, people. Something more? Yes. A people is an individual. No, it's not an individual. Fine. So peoples, there can be any man or woman, peoples, specific person, a type of similar group. So the person who's writing a type of similar group of people, who is writing it, and the thing is, the a type of similar group of people is associated with what? A people, peoples, the people. What do you imply to say? A people, each among all. Okay, a people is plural, of course. A people is plural, one community or group. Okay, all right. A type of similar group of people. I think that explanation is coming from, uh, like coming for a people only. Peoples is grammatically correct as far as I know. It doesn't take a plural form because it itself is a plural form. The people means the ethnicity. Okay, people means human beings collectively. Now, when we are talking about the people, you are like paying specific attention to the, we can say, community or the group of people. So the people is basically emphasizing, giving stress to a specific community. Okay, so it is for, we can consider, emphasis. Okay, or we can say giving specific stress, specific stress. Okay, so emphasizing or giving emphasis or giving specific stress to any given community, any given community. So emphasis, okay, specific stress. Peoples, what is peoples? This, the way you eat thali, and in thali everything is distinct and clear, everything is having its own identity. This, so this is peoples. When you use this expression, like let's say peoples of the world. So peoples of the world, what does it imply? So on the basis of, like, let's say religion, on the basis of ethnicity, on the basis of like region, you are identifying people distinctly and differently. So despite the distinction, despite the differentiation, you are recognizing as them as a whole. So the distinction or differentiation is calling them peoples. Okay, peoples of the world. It implies that there are different types of communities but addressed as one. The moment I say people of the world, like let us say, the moment I say something like this, people of the world, people of the world. So people of the world, I'm blending them together and talking about them. This is people of the world, people. If I'm saying peoples of the world, this is what it implies, whereby the distinct identity is respected, identified, maintained. Peoples of the world, right? And if I use a people, a here implies any group of people. A means when you cannot distinguish, when you cannot identify. It can be any not identified group of people. A people means any group of people that values its privileges, who give importance to their privileges above its principles, loses both. That's what the topic is saying. This. Okay, so peoples is more like what? It is more like salad bowl culture. So salad bowl, whereby every like salad, piece of salad is distinct. Like a cucumber can be differentiated from lettuce, or it can be differentiated from a tomato, okay, or onion, okay, julienne of onion, whatever is put, you can just distinguish each one of them, and yet they are mixed and kept together. That's more like peoples. But the moment you are talking about a rice pudding like kheer, the moment you are talking about khichdi, melting pot, okay, that's like people. This. So in the chapter of globalization, you refer to it as this melting pot, where everything is mixed, intermingled, and becoming one wholesome identity. So when everything is intermingled and becomes wholesome, it is people. So if there is cultural assimilation, amalgamation, it will be people. Okay. But when there is, we are saying cultural integration. So in integration, when we speak of it, you imply that every single community with its distinction is also recognized, and yet everyone is taken together. So that is the insight behind the term peoples. So I hope all of you are understanding that even a single alphabet like A can change the destiny of an essay, can change the interpretation of an essay. So I hope no one is going to underestimate the power of A, just the alphabet A, right? So if anyone is thinking that why is like alphabet A counted, that's the reason. In your compulsory paper, English compulsory paper, you get an essay there as well. Along with that, you get Pressy writing. In Pressy writing, you get a sheet of paper which is more like a box sheet. It's like this. There are several boxes in the sheet, and you have to fill in that sheet. In that sheet, in every box, one word is written, whether it is a, and, the, doesn't matter. But you fit in every word, every single word in every single box. You cannot go casual about it, right? So I hope all of you are getting some idea related to this. Substantiating the same, I can take you back to what we had been discussing. So if I give you a topic like this, like let us say, when you are understanding this in dimensions of essay, to understand a topic in letter and spirit, if I give you a topic like this one, education, colon, as it should be. A simple topic, relatively. Education has been a hotcake topic for UPSC. In last 30 years, UPSC has asked questions related to education 16 times. It loves the topic so much. So education, which is a hotcake topic, I'm creating a simplistic topic for all of you from that given, we can say, topic which UPSC loves. So education as it should be. Can you reflect upon the content? What should be written? Yes. What dimension ought to be written? Let's see. Are you understanding that? I think you all have become little capable. Just give me the segments that you would be incorporating, just the keywords of the segments. Education as it should be. Yes, people, let me see. Who comes up with what kind of explanation? E. Yes, let me see. You can just give me indicative points. I don't need the language. I just need the indicative points related to it. Education as it should be. This one. Yes. Let me see. Yes. Further ahead. I'm yet waiting for other key points to reflect when we are talking about education as it should be. Yes, people. What are the elements or segments that you would be substantiating? Okay, starting the essay with quotation of Swami Vivekananda, then the various aspects according to various scholars. All right, Sunanda. Someone else coming up with something else? People? Social impact of education system, problems in present education system, recommendations for better education system. Okay, so that's what. All right, something else? Something else? Other people? Current dimension of education and what I think it should be like. Okay, Anis. All right. Now, everyone can notice as all of you are sharing the given sub-segments associated with it. Ma'am, education can be achieved from anywhere or from anything, but it should be fair. Yes, Pintu, agreed. So I believe all of you can see that the topic is education as it should be. Do you believe that if I just alter the content by writing that education as it was, education as it can be, education as it may be, yes. Does the content that has to be substantiated make a difference? The moment I change, the moment I alter from education as it should be to education as it was, just replacing the word should with was or can or may, does my engagement with the topic change? That's the question. Does my engagement with the topic, the content that I'll be consolidating in the essay, does that change with this given subsegment? Education as it was, education as it can be, education as it should be, huh? As it may be. So, does the content change what I would be writing in the essay? Education as it was, focus will be on history. Education as it can be, potential, possibility. Should was focusing on ideal. Okay, what ought to be there, that is should. Education as it may be is a choice, tentative possibility, the flip. So is the content changing just with a helping verb, a helping verb like should, like may, like can, right? So all those students who underestimate these words, who don't pay attention to these words, देखा education, हाँ education पे topic है, let me write that. What is that? Why are you only focusing on like a specific word? The shortest possible summary of an essay is the title or the topic of the essay. If I have to say that there is an 18-page essay and provide me a gist statement, just boil down the entire content from 18 pages to just one sentence, what would be that sentence? The topic. The topic is the gist statement of the essay. Elaboration of a topic, a 360-degree spin of the topic, a 360-degree like spherical expansion of a topic creates the content of an essay. If I don't understand the topic, I fail to generate points which keep close to the topic of the essay, right? So, when we are discussing about it, we all need to understand with respect to this given subsegment, my aspiration so far is not to discuss the content. Content discussion can happen later. Presently, my focus is to help you identify one of the core segments of writing an essay. We are just drawing the contour of how to prepare. And in the process of drawing the contour, first and foremost, what I shared with all of you here in terms of what UPSC is expecting, they will be expected students who candidates, there is for candidates. Okay. So candidates will be expected to keep closely to the subject of the essay. The moment you start thinking something else like patriarchy in that topic, you all could see that. The moment you start talking about something else which is not the aspiration of the topic, you fail to remain close to the topic. And when you're not close to the topic, you lose marks. And then you're like, oh my God, why did I get 110 out of 250? Ma'am said that in essay it is very scoring. One can get 150 plus. So how come some student is getting 125, someone is getting 110, someone is even getting 60? I mean, good marks should be known, but pathetic marks are also there. Someone is getting it. Why? Because the person fails to understand the core aspiration of a topic. The person triggered the examiner by maybe writing something anti-constitution or like anti-society. So when we are speaking of it, to keep close to the subject, okay, then comes arrange the ideas in orderly fashion to write concisely. So to keep close to the subject, to remain effective, it is necessary to understand a topic in letter and spirit. If you don't understand it, you start losing marks. That's the first piece of lesson that you get. Again, one more thing. I have written over here abundant. I did not write multidimensional. Mind this. Multidimensionality is an aspect of abundance, but not everything. So, multidimensional, if I use this word, many of you had multidimensional ideas related to patriarchy. You had a lot of segments, a lot of ideas related to what you would have written in the essay. But despite multidimensionality, abundance was not there. Abundance. What is abundance? It is the sense of richness. It is the sense of completeness. We can consider that multidimensionality can add to richness and completeness, but it's not necessary. It's not necessary that just by being multidimensional, your content becomes abundant. Your content becomes abundant only when you are understanding the topic in letter and spirit. If you fail to understand the topic in letter and spirit, your content does not become abundant, despite being multidimensional. The content can be multidimensional, but not necessarily abundant. Are you understanding the difference between these words? So far, you have been taking them synonymously, but they are not synonyms. There is a hairline difference, and that hairline difference is quite massive to make you understand that multidimensionality is leading to abundance, but not always. Along with multidimensionality, there is something more that is needed to generate that sense of abundance. I hope all of you are getting that idea, that sense of clarity. Anyway, after this further, so I'm quite sure that all of you are having some profound sense of realization that there is so much that needs to be fixed related to essay writing. Then comes language. What kind of language do you need? Yes. What kind of language do we need, people? What quality of language do you consider ought to be there related to essay writing? Let us reflect upon that as well. Because every single aspect counts. Every single aspect is bringing about the difference. Remember, these are like basic sessions which are fixing the structure. Remember, it is related to 250 marks. 250 marks. I mean, some teacher will teach you history for maybe 25 sessions, and then the person will be fixing for 80 marks. Someone will be teaching geography for 20-25 sessions, fixing 80 marks. Here, every single session, I'll keep it at a relaxed pace so that you don't feel rushed up, okay? But every single session will be so deeply thought-provoking that and so very meaningful even for GS mains interpretation of questions. I could have shown you a lot of mains questions which you fail to interpret correctly just because you don't know how to decode a topic. of essay. And just because you don't know how to comprehend a statement, poor comprehension impacts at all levels, at all levels. So when we are speaking of this given dimension, we all can connect with this. Yeah, people. What else? Let me know. Understandable language with present tense, not to use very difficult words. Okay. Present tense, well, that depends on the topic. Let us leave the tense part, Nimai. But fine, understandable language, what you imply to say is simple. Or in other words, we can say lucid, lucid language, right? Something more, other people, with respect to language, what is needed? Yes. So simple language, lucid language. Maybe I can use one more word, formal language, because I said it should be like NCERT standard 12th. So it should be formal, it should not be childlike, it should not be kiddish. So formal, simple, lucid. Maybe someone can think of grammar, spellings. Okay. All right. So there should be proper usage of, I would say, grammar and spellings. No messing up with it. All right. Okay, do not require outstanding vocabulary. Well, now something which I'll share is your idea of outstanding vocabulary may differ from the examiner's so-called outstanding vocabulary. If you feel that the Hindu or Indian Express, while discussing, or the Telegraph, while discussing over a topic, any kind of topic, if you feel that they are bringing in a lot of balance, a lot of dimension related to IR economy, whatever the topic is, and you feel, wow, that was integral, that was necessary, that should have been incorporated, if you feel like that, okay, then probably I can share this, that that's the language that you need. If you feel, oh, this is outstanding language, I don't need this language, that will be a faulty proposition. So, a basic standard language used by a journalist related to a discipline in a formal context is yes. Not very big sentence, yes. Not very long and meandering sentences so that the content is not lost in between. No, you cannot use colloquial language. That's very informal. Okay. Let me introduce this given possibility with something else. Okay. Tell me something. You must have done GS paper 4. So, what are the civil services values? Okay. What are the values which are needed for a civil servant? Yes. What are the values that are needed for a civil servant? Yes. What kind of qualities, values are essential for a civil servant? People. Yes. What are the values which are essential for a civil servant? So, I believe all of you are now understanding that we have to pay attention to every single word, prepositions, articles, helping verbs. None of them are insignificant. They change the aspiration of a topic. Nothing needs to be underestimated. And imagine, it is so very important, we would say, so very important for all of us to really reflect or delve deep associated with a topic with a more sincere pursuit to create a breakthrough. A list of vocabulary, the dictionary is at your beck and call, Sunanda. There are so many online websites dedicated to the same. The method of how to enrich one's language is something that will be shared later, something around 5th session or so. A complete 40 minutes to 1 hour will be dedicated how to enrich your sentence bank, word bank, what are the sources and how you can put it to good use while preparing for GS paper. So don't worry about that. The kind of vocabulary used by Shashi Tharoor sir. Okay, see, with respect to Shashi Tharoor, what I can say is that he purposefully nowadays tries to titillate the audience with his language, just to just tickle that fun bone. That's it. If you read his book Pax Indica, you'll find a fine penmanship and no overwhelming you with a lot of, I would say, technical jargons and very tough words. If you are capable to read Indian Express and The Hindu, you will be able to read Pax Indica. It's a very good book, and it will fix your basics related to IR. It will be able to fix your, I would say, historical understanding or the background of India's culture, international relations, and unfolding of the politics over the centuries. Okay. So if you are curious, you can read that book and it doesn't overwhelm you with vocabulary. All right. Anyone who's feeling that Tarusa in daily language, what he speaks is something which I'll discourage, not that language. That is something which has to be discouraged, not that language. No Shakespearean English, no poetic language, no like flowery garbage, nothing. But yes, formal language, constitutional language, NCRT standard 12th language. Anyway, getting back to this, so when we are talking about civil services values, so you have come up with a lot of words, all of you, like integrity and honesty, leadership, communication skills, like emotional intelligence, being innovative, positive, punctual, and I appreciate all these words that you have come up with: tolerant and analyzing and apolitical. So all those words, a lot of you have pushed those words. Okay, trustworthiness and impartiality. Okay, so let us put it over here. So if I'm saying impartial, if I take your words like integrity, honesty, okay, accountability, okay, then you all are talking about impartial, right? So leadership qualities like compassion, okay, so empathy and compassion, they are not interchangeable. Okay, there is a difference between empathy and compassion. If ever needed, just try to get into it. Diligence and commitment. Well, there is a word in the syllabus that is dedication. Someone also spoke about punctuality, so I appreciate that. I note it over here. Okay, other than that, someone has also suggested reasonable and optimistic, fair. So impartial, so fairness is there. So reasoning mind, a person who's reasoning, someone who's optimistic in attitude, great. So all of you are able to understand that what kind of civil services values are needed. A tentative understanding is there with majority of you, right? So what kind of language do you need? You need a civil servant's language. A language through which you are able to communicate that you are a person of integrity, you are an impartial person, you are an apolitical person, you are a person who is committed and dedicated, a person who is ready to walk an extra mile, a person who is ready to create a breakthrough. Yes, a person who is visionary, a person who is optimistic. All those words that you've written, that should also be reflected from your language. So yes, language has to be something of NCRT level, formal, grammar, spellings, lucid, okay, all that with these qualities, right? I hope all of you are understanding this. Now, my next question is, how do you break up your time? Yes, how do you break up your time in terms of writing? How many of you in the past, like 1 year, has written a formal essay of UPSC level, made a fair attempt to write a UPSC level essay? My first question, those who have written, I don't write that. Yes, I have tried writing an essay, write a full sentence so that I can sense it. And along with that, when we are talking about it, I can express my views, make him or her understand. Okay, Nimai, when it comes to a language in which you can express your views and make the person understand, always remember you are dealing with someone who is double your age at least, or triple your age also. So if you're a 21, 22-year-old kid, a 57-year-old person evaluating your copy is thrice your age, almost. So it is not you who is possessing superiority in language, it is the other person. So whatever you will write, the other person will understand. So the problem is not to simplify like a child for the person, ready to eat meal, porridge. You don't have to make a khichdi for the person. Okay, that okay, I have made it soluble and simplified, because you are not teaching a kid. Here is a senior person, an academician, before whom you are going as a future civil services aspirant. So the person will be evaluating whether you have civil servant skill, communication skills, caliber, thought process, personality or not. So through your language, the person will be evaluating you. So you don't need to lower down your standard by trying to make it simple. Don't try to make it simple. Keep it formal, keep it up to mark, keep it logical, keep it smart, keep it pro constitution. Okay, with all these values. Okay, so don't try to underplay the language the way you used to do it during school days, simplifying things. Take it up, take it up. Like grab all the formal words you're learning from GS, new set of words you're learning from geography to history to economy to IR to social issues to internal security, all different subjects, all formal language that you're getting exposed to. Memorize it and use it in essay, right? So, yes, a civil servant needs to possess empathy rather than sympathy. But why also empathy? Pathy has pathos or sadness. Why not compassion? Whereby you are committed to bring about a difference without getting sad, sort of, right? There are other ways to think deeper, right? That's why I said there is a difference between empathy and compassion. I was not comparing sympathy and empathy, okay? You don't need to sympathize. The person is not a benefactor. Common people are stakeholders, competent enough. So never ever sympathy. And why also empathy? Why not compassion? Okay. So when you start playing with language, you start delving deep on every word and start reflecting upon the possible breakthroughs which are needed. Anyway, getting back to the game. So, how many people have written an essay? That's one question which I asked in the past 1 year of UPSC level. If any one has written, you can just accept it because that will give me a head start that what potential you hold. First. Second question which I'm raising is what is the breakup of timing? Means if you have in your hand something closer to, like, let's say if I'm saying that you are having 90 minutes, how will you break the time in terms of thinking about the points or making a rough structure? Are you writing the rough structure on like page? Because see, if it was an offline class, I would have said how many people write the rough structure on a piece of paper. So few people would have raised their hands. I would have been able to see few write it. Most of them are not writing it. So those who are doing all this, I just want to identify them. Who all have been doing all this, making a rough structure on a piece of paper. Again, out of 90 minutes, how much time do you need to think about the topic? And if you're writing a rough structure, then to write the rough structure. And how much time will you take to write the content? Out of 90 minutes, how much time will you devote to write the formal essay? Okay, to write the formal frame of essay. That's the breakup that I'm aspiring to know from all of you, right? Just share that with me. So in this dimensions of essay, as you share the time with me, I'll be reading it out, getting to know all of you. Today I'm getting familiar with all your names, the insights, the thought process that all of you possess. I will be able to, like, see through you and know you. The better the interaction we have every single day, the greater the sense of insight we'll be sharing with each other. I'll remember your names, I'll be remembering your patterns, the kind of answers you have given, right? And that's how the teacher student relationship gets established even in an online session, right? So keep writing. Okay, no worries, Nima, if you have not written an essay, because so far, like till the time essay is not taught, that's okay. Language by which I can express my views. I've written some questions for GS and optional, not essay. No worries. Give me the time breakup, the breakup of time. How much time would you, according to you, you think you would take for a 90 minutes? Like in 90 minutes, you have to write an essay, right? There are 3 hours, 2 essays have to be written. So in 90 minutes, how would you break open the timing? Okay, give me the breakup of the timing. So it seems majority of you have written GS answers and optional answers, right? But not essay. So this is the first fresh experience that all of you are holding. Great, no worries. Just tell me the breakup. That's something which I want to know. So first we can talk about choosing a topic. Then we can talk about idea generation. Under idea generation, there are two segments, that is brainstorming. Second segment will be brain mapping. Breakup of timing. I'm able to see a lot of students are writing a lot of things. Now I'm getting the breakup. Okay, so few students will take 5 to 10 minutes of thinking, introduction 5 minutes, more time for body, and last 5 minutes for conclusion. Okay, 10 minutes of rough structure, 30 minutes of content writing for each essay. Well, Shubham, there are only 2 essays and 3 hours. So 3 hours out of, like, so you'll be taking only 1 hour to write 2 essays. What will you do for the rest 2 hours? Okay, so that's what I'm saying. There are 90 minutes, mind it, 90 minutes. That's what UPSC is giving you, 90 minutes for one essay. I'm asking, how will you break open the 90 minutes? Okay, keep thinking, keep thinking. So conceptualizing the introduction. This is a segment which you have to note down. Okay, then conceptualizing the conclusion. Then we have to like organize the points. So organize the content. Then after that we have to write the final draft, write the final draft of the essay. Then you have polishing the essay, and after polishing the essay we have 2 minutes to calm down, relax, and detach. And now we have a breakup. A lot of students have shared. So 1 hour 15 minutes for each essay. Okay, didn't write an essay after standard 12th final. All right, not written an essay, but thinking to frame something like 15 to 20 minutes to think, 65 to 70 minutes to write. Okay, to understand a topic 3 minutes, thinking 7 minutes, for the formal writing 80 minutes. All right, all right. So majority of you have a tendency to think that, like, out of 90 minutes, around 70 minutes or so should be devoted for writing, 20 minutes to think, make structure, think of introduction, body, conclusion, right? Majority of you, I can sense, are speaking of this given possibility. Like, out of 90 minutes, if we create a breakup, you think that 70 minutes, 70 minutes is what is needed to write, or 80 minutes is what is needed to write, and 10 to 20 minutes to think, right? To think or write the rough frame, the rough structure, whatever. Okay. So I'm going to surprise all of you. I'm going to give a breakup of 50 plus 40 minutes, right? 50 minutes to write the fair essay. There's a logic to it, a logic why and how that will be done. And 20 minutes, sorry, and as I said, 50 minutes to write the fair structure, 40 minutes with respect to the rest of the areas. Why that 40 minutes has to be devoted, how it has to be devoted, how it needs to be debated, how the content needs to be created, all this is something that we are going to discuss tomorrow. I will be substantiating the breakup, giving a logical explanation to every single microscopic unit, because the moment I say essay technology, there are a lot of methods and techniques which logically and scientifically explain with every single micro unit of time and segment that needs to be devoted to understand a topic in letter and spirit, to write the content wholesomely, thoroughly, with a lot of abundance, right? So we'll continue with this discussion tomorrow. As time is up, there is another session. We have the optional session, just started with sociology optional recently, so those students also would be waiting. The sessions are from 1 o'clock to 3:30 p.m. here itself. So when the sessions are online, so I would be just resuming that session. Henceforth, I take your leave. I hope you had a joyous ride with respect to essay writing today, a basic introduction. We have yet got to delve deep into it. So session after session, you will see the breakthroughs and empowerment related to this 250 marks area. And I'm quite sure after 7 days, you will be a different person. So thank you for being so patient, for participating. Participating is something which will make the session nourishing as well as interesting for all of us. All right. So we shall meet again tomorrow. Thank you and have a good day.